We're gonna, on all the players that skated today, because there were a handful, Gergensons, uh, all those guys that were in, we're gonna have conversations now. And our first one we'll have was with the medical team to see how they responded. I have an idea how they responded because of how they looked in the skate, but we'll confirm and converse on that now that we had the skate today. And I think there's a lot of guys really close. That is close as tomorrow's lineup. So, but without the information that I'd like to have and the conversations I'd like to have, it's not appropriate to make any announcement. Still have to talk to the players too on it. But it looks, it's in likelihood, yes, guys will be back in the lineup or a guy or two. And if not tomorrow, they're based on what I just watched, they're pretty darn close.
There's going to be a lot of noise around this game tomorrow, Don, for a few reasons. Do you address the elephant in the room with the group to make sure that the focus?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it as an elephant in the room. It's, it's Jack, and it's no different than when Sammy was here, or Risto, or these are guys that you've built relationships with, that you still have a care for them, and they're on the other team, and we're all professionals, and it's just at the end of it, it's a hockey game. It's like every other game. Games are won and lost by the execution and the preparation. You have to focus on that. So our focus is still on that. I think everybody's focus is on that. I don't see any extra emotion, if that might be the concern. No, I mean, there's just, we finished last game. There's things that we want to focus on going into this game, regardless of our opponents or opponent. And we have to stay on that. So I don't see much to it in the form of any sideshow. It's just a normal day for us, and I think it is for everybody in the game. With another ex-Sabre coming back in the building.
Are you in any way curious to see what reception he might get tomorrow?
Have not thought about that, John, and yeah, I mean, it just, we're so concerned and focused on ourselves that no, I have not given that any thought. Or it's, people do what they want to do, and I don't like something like that. Just, I'm thinking of my approach to it. Everybody has their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own whatever, and everybody's entitled to it. We know what ours are, and we got a game to worry about. So.
You maintained all along that you wanted to see Jack healthy and on the ice, no matter what.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him from watching tape and just in over his last 10 games, and what have you seen from Jack?
Yeah, he looks like himself. So he looks good, and that's, I mean, when I watch Vegas. I'm not just zeroing in on him, obviously, because it's a pretty good hockey team over there. But he does. He looks like he's getting himself back to normal.
Jack's presence changes things because he wasn't there last month when he played them. How does he impact the game now when he's on the other team? You always knew how you wanted him to impact the game when he was with you. How do you deal with him now?
Yeah, he is obviously an elite player, an elite talent within our league, and he goes into that category. They all are in the category. Crosby, Malkin, Matthews, Marner. You give a good player time and space, they are going to make a play on you. And it's really that simple. So he is on, the superstars are spread through the league in the salary cap era. It's the top 2 or 3 guys on each team. And again, if you give them time and space, they will execute. So, the objective is no different on Jack as a star player than it was on any other guy I mentioned. It's the exact same focus.
Why do you think sometimes elite teams with elite players struggle so badly on the power play? We've seen it for years in Pittsburgh. Their power play has struggled. Vegas is having a terrible time. When you look at their roster,
Yeah.
They should be killing it on the power play. Is it sometimes too many cooks?
Yeah, the psyche. I mean, you could probably come up with lots of reasons. Things that I know are real challenges is the top players have in their mind the perfect and ideal play. And when you try to orchestrate it, it's almost like you have to have a meeting with the penalty kill before the game and say, hey, will you open that seam for us? Because I know when you move, I can make that play. And that's what it looks like when you watch the great players and great power plays that struggle. It's they get a stubbornness to them that I want to make this play that I see, and the penalty kill unit just doesn't cooperate. And so they force it. They try to elevate a pass through sticks, which is never a good thing on a power play, just subtleties like that. Or they don't shoot, they overpass, and they play on the perimeter. And so you see that if you watch power plays in bulk, and back to specifically the question of what that's what happens. They try to score the ideal or perfect play instead of just taking what's there.
Don, is there ever a time as a coach when you take a game like Florida and just say, guys, we're putting it away, that's it? I mean, I know you like to do video and all that kind of stuff. Is there ever a time where you just say, we're not going back to this, we're not looking at this, we're moving forward?
Yeah, there is, but Florida wasn't one of those. I think important for Florida is, they did it to Pittsburgh last night. So if you look at just even the analytics from their game last night, they played back-to-back. So they're the tired team in Pittsburgh's building, and we all know how good Pittsburgh is. And they still, I think Pittsburgh scored a late goal to make it 4-3, but Florida won the game. They're doing it to everybody. So you almost look and one of the things we do when we look at it is, okay, they're doing it to just about everybody. Where do we fit in that equation too? So, the separation of score was not really indicative of the game. I mean, we missed chances to score. Spencer Knight was really good. So the separation can make you say, oh, let's just throw that away. This was awful. I don't think it was as awful as the separation of score when you compare it to how they're playing. They're very opportunistic teams. They have 4 lines that can score. So, you might only make 7 mistakes, but they can score 6 times on you. You made 7 mistakes against another team, they might score 1. So it's important to know that and have a perspective on that, so you don't go after your team in the wrong area. Where we, if I say go after your team, where we're demanding of our team is we are actually creating turnovers really fast. And part of our possession time is just we get the puck back so fast. And whether it's gaps or tracking and back check, back pressure, but now we're not executing well enough when we do that. And that was the push today. That was the push in practice that you saw me stop practice a time or two. Was just that concentration, that focus. And to me, it's a focus issue. It's a maturing issue. And we could see in that game, we did a nice job of what I said. But if you give the puck right back to the other team because you didn't focus, it's not a skill deficiency. It's you just didn't concentrate. You're defending right again. So we defend well, but we defend too much because we don't handle the first 2-3 seconds after we force the turnover. You guys can see it clear as day. And so from that game, that was an important thing to take out of that.
Don, you're coming off that game. Now these 2 games, given where you guys are in the standings, these 2 games are going to get an enormous amount of attention for a team where you guys are. Just in the concept of the entire rebuild and trying to get this organization moving, how important is it, for you guys to perform in these 2 games, given all the attention they're going to get, whether it's TV, media, fans tomorrow, a lot more attention than you normally get.
I think the key is the added pressure. It's important for us, and it's great for us to have the added pressure of that because we have to learn to deal with that. We're not going into the playoffs, but we all know in the playoffs is handling pressure and elevating compete. And those are 2 major ingredients to playoff success. So for us to be thrown in that is really a bonus for us. We want that. I would rather play the hardest schedule in the league than the easiest schedule by far and away down the stretch because it gives us the opportunity to learn and grow through it. And so this is really nice that we have such a spotlight on tomorrow night and obviously on the outdoor game. And we have a team in Toronto that is not going to be happy with their performance in our game in Toronto. So, we're going to get their best game. We're not going to sneak in there and they have their guard down. So that is, it's daunting if you think about it one way, but it's just what we need.
Don, when you play elite offensive teams like you will in the next 2 games, and we saw it in Toronto, how well you guys kept them to the outside. How important is it to play that compressed defense and keep skilled offensive teams to the outside?
Yeah, Mike, I think that's part of offense too. Even when we talk to our team, it's you want the puck back, so it's you're going to get it back faster and more efficiently. Doing certain things tactically that end up falling in the defensive category. But really, it's getting the puck back. It's if you get it back, you deny the opportunity the other way. And like I said, our guys have been good at that. I mean, when I look at and compare it through the league, because we're trying to gauge where we are within the league on the details, and I feel comfortable there. It's the execution the other way. I've said it to our guys in this room. Offense is much harder in this league than defense. Defense is just, coaches can talk about their team playing defense and play their system, and they practice all year long. You practice, do this defensively. Day one of the playoffs, every team in the league, all the players concentrate on defense. It's like, why didn't you do this all year long? But the urgency forces them to concentrate then. It wasn't that they needed more practice reps. It wasn't that the urgency forced them to become a shutdown situation. It's not hard for them to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. And so for us, I'd like to think we can continue having success defending and isolating guys like we did in Toronto that night or on other occasions. But that's just the way we need to play, regardless, even if we were a skilled team. So it's the way we're going to play in the future. It has to be part of the identity. And I love the challenge of having better teams to work on it.
Casey back at center too, him now being back, I guess, whatever, 2-3 weeks. Do you like the kind of the spot he's found now?
He still is progressing toward feeling good and better, and I think his skating is coming along, and he can cover more ice with faster recovery, less fatigue doing it, based on playing more games. So the shift with him back to center, that's for me is more natural spot. He's a creative guy, but it's happened now because he can get up and down the rink better and recover faster in between a shift. First few games, I didn't think he could do that. That's why I shifted him to the wing to give him some time to get back into game conditioning. We didn't have a lot of practices for that to happen. So that's a big part of it. And he's nowhere near what he's capable of yet. But it's unfortunately the process is it's going to take him games to get there.
Are you going to go with Anderson tomorrow?
I would be inclined to, but I'll have that conversation based on obviously where he's our number one guy. So. Can't confirm it, but that would be what we're leaning toward.